Hey everybody. So I'm not filming this with my 4K camera, although I might convert this to 4K, courtesy of onlineconvert.com later on, or maybe Cyber Power Director. We'll see. But I might convert it to 4K. So if you see like the 4K icon next to the video, then you'll know that it was converted. But I wanted to come on here and just talk about my initial thoughts on WWE 2K23. Just give you my initial thoughts and, early impressions of it so far. And I can honestly say that it feels a lot more different. I'll put it this way, it's basically the same mechanics, just a few things switched over that you can obviously, switch back, because I believe they give you that option. Like the pinning system, if you will, from the first game, that the very popular option that we had in 2K22, you could switch over to that, because the pinning system they have right now is very throwbackish, if you will, to the early WWE games of this current regime of generational consoles, to where it's more like the bar. So you have to try to line up the bar with the R1 stick, if you will, or the R2 stick, one of them. You have to line up the bar and then try to get on it, if you will, by clicking one of the buttons, like the square or the triangle or whatever. And I'll say this: as long as you can maintain momentum in your match, you should be good. Now, if you want to switch it back over to the old version, which is very popular with a lot of fans, you could do that too. I think that's an option they gave you, like I said. Now, as far as like some issues that we dealt with in previous versions, like the lag, which would cause crashes at times, I don't feel that here. I don't feel that right now, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know if maybe that's because I cleared out some space on my PS4, and that's kind of helping. But I haven't really experienced any lag at the moment. As a matter of fact, everything has been a smooth ride, from the moment I got the game and started, playing it. I mean, even when I upload the images, and everything, it's, there's still that issue to where, like, when you upload an image, you don't see it initially until, like, you refresh the page or you upload another image, and then it suddenly pops up. And then when you download it to use on your system, in your game, if you will, that sometimes after you download it, it'll still show up there, but then after you kind of refresh again by downloading another image, if you have another one there, and then it will update. So there's still that issue, but that's not a deal breaker in my opinion. I'm pretty sure that's fixable. But outside of that, like I said, I haven't really noticed much lag, when it comes to the game whatsoever. I haven't really noticed that, period. So I'm happy that they've improved on that, and I know they're still going to be patching it up as time goes on, because they got all these other future DLC packs coming, so they need to make sure everything is up to snuff, if you will, for these packs and stuff that'll be coming our way in the future months and all that, in the coming weeks and everything. So again, I know they're going to be doing more patches, but right now it feels like the latest patch is really, in my opinion, smoothed out any issues that might have been there right off the bat. Now, outside of there being no lag, are there glitches? There's some, not much that could be a deal breaker. Like, there's one glitch to where, when let's say you go for a leg drop, a running leg drop, that usually in previous games, if you miss it, you fall on your butt, right? You crash on your butt if your opponent moves. Here, when you try to go for it and your opponent moves, you don't fall on your butt. Instead, you just, your leg just goes up real slightly, like this. It just goes up real slightly, and then that's it. You just stand there, but you don't freeze. You don't freeze in place. You're still able to move and everything. It's just basically you don't fall like you normally would. So that's the only glitch I've noticed. You know, that's the only glitch I've come to notice since I've had the game. And I'm sure that's easily fixable, and I think in the future patches they'll fix that too. But outside of that, the game has been running smoothly for me. You know, like I said, like I said in the first attempt to try to do this video, but as I mentioned in the first attempt there, one of the big and notable changes is the pinning system. Now, they do give you the option, like in the previous games, to basically change it over to the previous version's pin system that you're more used to. So, so you get to do that here, I believe, with 2K23, just like you did with 2K22. You can switch back over, to the previous version's pin system. So basically, if you're not fond of the whole, I guess you could say trying to match up the bar and everything with the R3 stick or the R2 stick, and as well as pressing the green triangle button, I believe, to break a pen and all that, or kick out at 2. If you're not fond of that, you could always switch back to the previous version from 2K22, I believe. Now outside of that being one of the only initial changes and everything, so far everything else looks really good. So far, everything else looks really good. You could tell in a way, and I was thinking about this the other day, you could tell in a way that they were putting more emphasis on the 2K23 game over 2K22. Like 2K22, they wanted to basically make up for what happened with 2K20, and they did that, but they really wanted to take their time, with 2K23 and show that, hey, not only are they going to make up for what happened with 2K20, but they're going to vastly improve on it in a way that, makes it feel like it's an all new game, but with a familiar tone. Like we all know, it's basically essentially, just an upgrade version of WWE 2K22. Here's the thing about the WWE 2K series. It basically suffers. If there's one negative people would drop on it, it basically suffers from the same situation that Angry Joe Vargas, complains about with Madden, and that is the fact that it's basically the same game, just reskinned, with a new roster of talent, or in Madden's case, roster of players, or updated rosters, and maybe a few new things here and there, and that's it. And again, if there's one negative people put on the WWE 2K series, it's that. And if there's one thing people are praising about Fight Forever by AEW when it does come out, is it's going to be essentially for a while a one and done game that doesn't need any sequels, but it will be constantly updated with roster members and stuff like that. So, that's the only like negative thing people would say about it, because it's essentially the same game but with a lot of improvements. But like I said, you could definitely tell they put more emphasis on this over 2K20. Like both of them were priorities and everything, but this you could tell was the initial priority. Like, this is my opinion, but I think the moment they started working on 2K22, like the programming it and all that, the moment they started doing it is when they started basically working on like the pre-programming for 2K23. Like as soon as they got into the meat of developing, updating, fixing and all that, the issues that 2K20 had and even 2K19 had for 2K22, as soon as they got into the meat of that, that's when I think they started doing the programming, the pre-programming, the initial programming start on 2K23 and put more emphasis on it. And that's why I think when you look at 2K22, yeah, it's a vast improvement over 2K20, but there are still issues. Like there are going to be crashes here and there. There are going to be freeze up of characters here and there. issues, glitches and stuff, but it is a vast improvement. But I think the reason for that is they were putting more emphasis on 2K23. Because you got to also recall the reports that there is, trouble in paradise when it comes to WWE and 2K's relationship. Like, is WWE going to want to remain with them, for the long haul? Are they going to want to remain with 2K20 or with 2K Sports with Take-Two, for the long haul? Are they going to want to do that, or are they going to want to look for somebody else? And I think what 2K did is they took that to heart, looking at the fact that WWE is like, a major bankroll for them. And they pretty much said, if we, they pretty much figured, if we're going to, try to convince these people to keep us on as their video game partners, developers for the game, the publisher for the game, then let's really make an effort. Let's really, go all out and put our best foot forward with 2K23. And I think that's what happened. I think that's initially what happened. I think basically, they're hearing these rumors and speculations and, talks, potentially of WWE looking for another video game publisher and developers and all that. And they're like, oh, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to lose our meal ticket. And they probably decided to really put their best foot forward with 2K23 so far. And basically kind of like, still focus on 2K22, but put more focus, priority focus on 2K23. That's what I believe they did, in my opinion. That's what I believe they did, in my opinion. Which is why when you look, because again, when you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense as to why, no matter what console version of 2K22 you have, physical or digital, when you really think about it, it makes sense as to why 2K, it has so many, it still has some issues here and there, not as much as 2K20, because everybody says 22 is a vast improvement, but you could tell, it still has its issues, but yet when you compare it to this launch of 2K23, you don't see that many issues. And that tells me that they put more priority over this than they did 2K22. Like I said, they were both priorities, but 23 was like the priority. Like, this is the game we gotta basically, make a comeback with, and prove ourselves to WWE that, hey, keep us on as your video game publishers and developers. And that's why the game so far seems to be doing very well in sales, getting a lot of praise. I mean, even Angry Joe is impressed with the Creation Suite and everything that's been improved on and added on, if you will. So that's saying something right there. But outside of that, like I said, the overall game presentation, I haven't played all the things. I haven't played My Rise yet, or this John Cena one, the John Cena showcase, or anything yet. If I do, I might record that or something. But so far the presentation to me is good. It's it's not overall like, oh, it's the perfect game and everything. No, it's good. Because again, you can tell there are some issues, but they're very minor. But I think one of the biggest takeaways fans, have from this game, one of the big, negative takeaways, isn't the fact that, like Madden, as I mentioned earlier, it's just a reskin of 22 and 19, but vastly improved. It's not just that, and everything. But the one biggest negative blow that fans do not like, and they hope WWE, figures this out. WWE, works on this, if you will. The one big negative blow they do not care for is when you go to creator entrance, which is vastly improved in its own right, I'll give it that. What I do like about it is, in the originals or in the previous ones, you would have to basically, what I'm trying to say is in the originals, it'd be like, okay, here's your first part, you focus on that, okay, that'll take you to another scene, another scene, another scene, another scene. You know, it was like you had to wait. It's like as soon as you did, like, okay, I want the regular entrance motion to be so-and-so, and then I want the title motion entrance to be this, and Money in the Bank, that, you know, you would always get like a different scene. You would have to wait for it to load a little bit. Here, what they did is they took what they did for Creative Video, Creator-tron, if you will. The Creative Video, the Creator-tron, if you will. Basically, they took that video editor, you know, that they had in there, and they placed it in Creator Entrance, which I think is great. I think it's really great because now it allows you to basically create the entrance you want for your created superstar. You know, and that's great because again, the previous ones they did good. Don't get me wrong, they did good, but you could tell that, you know, that you could tell going in that direction kind of put wear and tear on your console. Whether it was PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox, you know, Series S, Xbox One, you know, you name it. It put a little wear and tear because it had to go from one scene to another. Here, it's like you're basically making a movie on your PC or your laptop with Windows or with Cyber Power Director, you know, or Adobe Premiere. That's what it feels like, and I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they took the video editing system for Creative Video and applied it to Creative Entrance. So I'm happy they did that. But speaking of entrance, though, like I said, the one negative people will take from this, as I mentioned, isn't the fact that it's a more improved reskin of both 19 and 22, and basically to an huge extent 20. You know, it's not the fact that it's a reskin of those previous 2-3 games. No. You know, what the issue that they have is when you go to create an entrance, you know, one of the more anticipated entrances fans were hoping to create with when it came to their character is Cody Rhodes. They wanted to use the American Nightmare entrance. And guess what? They can do that. They get two different entrances. They get the platform one, you know, the elevator one, the platform one, then, you know, that he raises up from. They get that. And they also get the one where he just comes out he just walks out straight and everything, and he's just, you know, doing this and all that. You know, you get that, and of course both come with pyro and all that. So you get both of the Cody Rhodes American Nightmare entrances. The downside, though, is you don't get Kingdom. Yeah. Everybody else's theme, as far as I know, everybody else's theme, except for Kingdom and Legs, which is Stacy Keibler's theme song that she's known for. Those are the only, you know, I guess you could say, you know, exemptions, if you will, from the game. So if you wanted to create a female character and you said, oh, I'm going to use Stacy Keibler's Legs theme for her entrance music, you can't do that. You're using her old theme from when she first came to WWE, you know, as part of WCW. That's the theme you're getting. With Cody, you know, you can't get that. You can't get that theme, you know, as far as I know. Because here's the thing. I looked it up online, and I'm thinking, okay, something's not right here, right? So I looked it up online, and apparently you can't get it. Even if you use the entire from beginning to end, you use the entire, you know, entrance of Cody, you know, for your created character, you can't use Kingdom. You can't. And to me, that's kind of disappointing because, like a lot of fans, as I just check something here for a second, guys, you know, like a lot of fans, I wanted to use Kingdom as part of my rated characters, my CAW curated character of myself. I wanted to use the song at least for my entrance. Like, I'm not going to use, like, you saw my first match, if you will, and everything, on here, courtesy of WWE 2K23. And, my original idea was use Kingdom. Like, come out with a different entrance and everything, which I did, which was the Viper entrance, Randy Orton's. But, come out with Kingdom. Couldn't do that. I could not do that because it wasn't available. Same with Stacy Keibler's Legs song by, ZZ Top. I think that's the ones who did it. Because it's not there. And this is something that a lot of fans, again, like I said, were hoping for. They were hoping not only to have the entrance, which they do have, to use for the character and create an entrance. You do have the entrance, but they also were hoping to use Kingdom. They wanted to use Kingdom as part of the entrance music for the character. Whether they're using the Cody Rhodes entrance or somebody else's entrance, they wanted to use Kingdom. And to an extent, they wanted to use Legs from Stacy Keibler by ZZ Top. None of those are there. None of those are there. So yeah, those are big omissions. The big one between the two, Kingdom, it's like, why would you cut that out? What's going on? What's the deal? So a lot of fans are hoping that in future updates and patches, they fix this. Now, they don't know if it's something that has to do with Cody owning the rights and Cody not wanting it to be, in the game, which is a disappointment. Or if maybe because, let's not forget, all right, AEW Fight Forever is coming out. And Cody's in that game too. He's in that game. So he'll be making history this year by being the only major superstar, main event superstar, to be featured in two primary wrestling video games, based on the two biggest companies in North America, in WWE and AEW. So I'm just curious, maybe if it has to do with the fact that he made it, because remember, he was there. He was in AEW still when they made the announcement Fight Forever was going to happen. So you have to wonder if maybe there's something going on there to where, maybe WWE can't use Kingdom yet until after Fight Forever comes out. And because Fight Forever, which again also has Cody in there as a playable character, along with his entrance, obviously, has the rights to use it first. You have to wonder. If that may be the situation there, because if it is, if that turns out to be the reason, I mean, if you go eventually and buy the game digitally or physically, and you play and you go and create a character, and one of the music options is Kingdom, then there's your answer. There would be your answer as to why WWE can't use it yet, because AEW has the rights to use it first. So yeah, it's kind of a big omission out of the two between it and Legs. But hopefully, whatever the situation is, they get it resolved. Because there's a lot of fans. That, again, when they picked this game up, knowing Cody was going to be in it, the American Nightmare was going to be in it, his entrance and all that was going to be in it, one of the things they wanted to do was not just use his entrance, but they wanted to use his theme song. And right now they can't do that. So that's a major negative, on the for the fans. But hopefully it gets resolved, because whatever the issue is, whether it's Cody still trying to work things out with Downstraight, which is the artist that does his theme song, like maybe he's trying to work out a deal for them to get royalties. Anytime the game gets sold, that way, when they do a future, patch, they'll include the theme, and by including the theme, Downstraight will get some royalties out of it. I don't know if that's it, or again, I don't know if maybe Cody's like, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a legal issue with the record label. I don't know. It might be because, some people might say, well, didn't it come out under the AEW music label? And yeah, it did. But they're basically partnered with Warner Brothers, so it should come out under the Warner Brothers music label, and that shouldn't really be an issue to work around and get resolved. But we'll see. But the only other thing I can think of, like I said, the only other thing I could think of, like I said, is due to the fact that when Cody was still in AEW, they made the announcement Fight Forever was happening. Everybody on that roster at that time, including Cody, and I think this was before the pandemic really started to hit, and even after the pandemic, everybody was getting their face scanned. Everybody was doing motion capture. They were getting a face scan and all that. So I have to wonder and be curious about the fact of if, maybe it's because Cody's going to be in the game that the deal that, basically part of the reason we can't get Kingdom is part of our creative entrance music is due to the fact that AEW is going to have it first for Fight Forever, and we have to wait till that game comes out, and then maybe wait for a little while longer before maybe WWE can get the rights to do it, to get the rights to utilize it as well for creative wrestlers. I mean the song's in the game. First of all, before anybody says anything, the song is in the game. The theme song is in the game. Downstraight's Kingdom is in the game. It's just it cannot be utilized for creative wrestler or creative entrance for creative wrestler. So, to me, I'm just curious as to if maybe that's because a deal was worked out with AEW that they get it first for the creative wrestler option before anybody else. I don't know, but hopefully they figure it out. But what do you guys think? What do you think the issue could be with us not getting Kingdom or even Legs, if you will, as optional entrance music for created characters? What are your thoughts? But outside of those, the game so far, it's working smoothly. I'm enjoying it. I've just created like several characters already, downloaded some as well to start building my roster. And like I said, I'm enjoying what I'm playing, and I cannot wait to see what else comes down the line. I know some people might say, well, what if these future patches screw it up? I don't know. I don't know if it'll screw it up or not. I do know this. This is actually, as far as I know, this is actually the first WWE 2K game, or actually the second WWE 2K game on PS5. This is the second one, I believe. And I think basically, initially, the 2K23 was going to probably be a PS4 and Xbox One situation. Hold on for a sec. Oh, shit. Alright, sorry about that. I thought I would pause there. But anyway, like what I was saying, oh yeah. The reason I think 23 is also a lot more playable and a lot more smoother and everything is because of the fact that I think, when you look at 22, those were initially 2K22, that was initially supposed to be PS4 and Xbox One and Steam exclusives. That's all it was supposed to be. And then here comes PS5 and here comes Xbox Series X and S. And I think what happened is 2K and WWE is like, okay, we got to jump on the bandwagon. We got to make, PS5 and Xbox Series X versions, of those as well. And I think all they did was just copy and paste what they already put on the PS4 and Xbox One disc, and all that, as well as digitally. They just copied and pasted and just upped the graphics to match that of the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. That's what I think they did. And that's why you see more of a smoothness and more like an uptake in graphics, even with the PS4 and the Xbox One, when it comes to 23. Because you could see that one of the main priorities outside of trying to keep WWE as their video game publisher and partners, if you will, was to also impress those at Sony and Microsoft and say, hey, look, we put more emphasis on this game for your new consoles than we would, than we did with 22. So that's why I also think it's a lot more smoother, and it feels like more of an uptake into almost like 4K, 8K definition, even with a PS4, PS4 Pro, and Xbox One and Xbox One S, if you know what I mean. So outside of those other things, like I said, the only issues people have is they can't use the Kingdom song, if you will. They can't use Legs if they wanted to use that. Hopefully those omissions will be rectified and everything in the future. Hopefully those will be fixed in future patches. And as far as patches go, I know people are concerned that those might screw up the game. Again, I think because they put emphasis on these, primarily being PS5 and Xbox Series X and S games, outside of being released on PS4 and Xbox One and Xbox One S and PS4 Pro. I don't think we're going to have to worry that much about glitches whatsoever, because I don't think they're going to want to ruin the relationship, not just with WWE, but with Sony and Microsoft. So yeah, I don't think we'll have that much to worry about. And if we do, hopefully they'll take care of it quickly and be like, whoops, we made a mistake. We'll fix that. And then, as quickly as it happened, hopefully it'll get resolved and stuff like that. But overall, so far for me, the game works smoothly, and I'm adding to it day by day. Like I said, I download, I've created some characters and downloaded some. Like, I'll create a character, download one, create a character, download one, that, so I can build my roster and everything, for the foreseeable future. And yeah, so far I've been having fun with it. And again, you can definitely tell it's a vast improvement because of the fact that when you look at the, you look at like when you're creating the moves and everything, it's a lot quicker. It's not, not as delayed and everything. So I like that. And again, that's to me an example of they were putting that this was the main focus was to not only impress WWE, keep them as their partners, but to impress Sony and Microsoft with the new consoles out there. So anyway, that's just my thoughts, my initial impressions on WWE 2K23 so far. I'll probably give an updated one down the line, after I create more of my roster, as well as maybe create some arenas, some championships. And if anything comes up, I'll let you know in that updated review. And yeah, that's about it. So until next time, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.